Harlan Landes. For your last, we're going to be recording 2 Money with Friends podcasts. And we're going to be talking first about teen stock trading and then also about Amazon sellers price gouging, which a lot of people experienced. The question out to our Instagram stories, got a lot of responses, which we'll be sharing during that show. This recording is going out live on, I believe, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So if you are watching us on either of those channels, please say hi so that we know that it is working. We love our new streaming service, Restream. They're doing a great job. And we want to just make sure that we've set it up correctly and you're seeing it. So if you're on Twitter, say hi. If you're on YouTube, say hi and where you're from. And if you're on Facebook, say hi. And also say where you are watching from. Hey, Ron. Okay, so you're on Facebook. So Harlan, say hi to everybody while I now look at my Twitter and I'm going to retweet it on Twitter and you're going to retweet it on Twitter. So hopefully the Twitter people can see us.
Yeah, I just did that right now. I retweeted this. I'm sharing it on the Plutus Foundation Facebook page as well. So hopefully we'll have a few people watching from there. Hi, Ron. Hi, Lisa. It's great to see you guys. I'm excited to be here. We've got some great articles to talk about today. So I had a great weekend. I hope everyone had a great weekend. There's a little bit of a mess here in my office right now. Just ignore that. I'm in the process of redecorating a few things. Got some things going on. You know, we might as well, since we're stuck here. So redecorate a little bit, move things around, and that's what's going on in my life. How about you, Bobbi?
So it's very interesting. So Netflix is very smart, and I got pushed yesterday. You know, they pushed programs like what they think you would like. Mm-hmm. And I was sort of aggressive on my social media email. And then also on when I actually opened the Netflix app that I should watch this organizational show. I think it's because it features something called the Home Edit. And you know what? They know me well over at Netflix. Are fascinated. So now I'm really motivated to organize lots of things. I think I'm going to start with my kitchen drawer so everyone can follow along, because one of the episodes I watched featured a woman who organized her kitchen, and that was really good. It's a high activity space, and I think it would be really to see that, and maybe the Home Edit will see this and come rescue me, and I'll be featured in the future, and I won't have to do it all myself. But anyway, they had really good ideas, things I didn't really think about, and things that I can do, like taking stuff off the countertop. So we feel you with all this clutter that we all have. I think we're always battling it. What people maybe don't realize is I shoot this in the kitchen, but just off camera, sometimes there's a huge mess in the sink, and just off camera the other way, sometimes there's a huge mess on the dining room table. So we're with you. We're all struggling to organize.
If it's off camera, then it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly. It's kind of like if somebody gives you chocolate and you eat it, it doesn't have calories. Anyway, okay, guys. So this is, first of all, I'm so sad. This is Harlan's last recording with us as a regular co-host. He's been here with us for 4 months. We're going to be recording 2 shows. We're going to try to keep them to 15 minutes. So if you guys want to help time it for us, a lot of you have been helpful in the past, being like, you're coming up on the time. Feel free to remind us. Hey, Chris. Oh, I'm glad. Yes, exactly. We are homeschooling today as well here with my 13-year-old. We've already done lunch. We did it a little early because we knew we were filming. Keep us on track, though. Seriously, we want to have these shows be a really crisp 15 minutes, and we want to get in your comments. So that also means please get your comments in earlier rather than later so that we can include them. We also have a lot of Instagram stuff to share today. I hope you guys are all following us there at Money Friends Pod. You can also, by the way, follow Harlan. What's your Instagram handle?
Plutus Awards. Just follow me there.
Oh, and we're going to have a Plutus Awards announcement too. And you can follow me on Instagram at Bobbi Rebell 1, the number 1. All right, let's get started. So we've got people from Facebook and from YouTube chiming in. Hopefully we'll hear from somebody from Twitter. Twitter's harder because I think it just kind of like goes by. So it's harder for people to see it and grab it.
Twitter moves really fast.
So, all right. So this is the first show. This show is going to air tomorrow, which is Tuesday, September 15th. That's the audio version. So for joining us, you're watching us record. And within this recording, there's going to be 2 audio shows that will go out on Tuesday and Wednesday. So this is the audio podcast for Tuesday. Teen stock trading seems to be a dangerous trend, but let's not get judgy. We've got tips from one of the experts on teaching kids about money and investing. Plus, we have guest co-host Plutus Foundation founder Harlan Landes. It is Tuesday, September 15th. Let's talk money with friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from, my very grown up kitchen here in New York City.
And I'm Harlan Landes, founder of the Plutus Foundation, coming to you from beautiful Yardley, Pennsylvania.
This is the Money News Show that includes commentary on recent headlines and stories with thought leaders from across the financial landscape. Like Harlan, we break those stories down into what matters to you, our friends, and we leave you with a takeaway to make it your own. And this episode of Money with Friends, by the way, is sponsored by Tiller. Something you should make your own is getting organized about your money. Go to tillerhq.com/MW trial. And of course, you will be supporting the show, which is truly appreciated. And speaking of appreciated, we appreciate you, Harlan, for being part of this.
Yeah,
You've been
and
part
I
of the
appreciate
show, I guess,
being
for 4
here.
months. I should clarify. Yes. You've been a co-host for 4 months, and this is your second to last show. And you got some news to announce, by the way. You're the founder of the Plutus Foundation, which also is behind the Plutus Awards. Tell us, what are the Plutus Awards and what is your big announcement?
That's right. Well, the Plutus Awards have been around for 11 years now, and we celebrate excellence in financial media, especially focusing on independent bloggers, podcasters, authors, and speakers. And we're excited because, first of all, we've had to move our ceremony online due to the fact that we can't get together big groups in person right now. But we're excited to say that we are moving our date. We have an official date of November 13th. That will be the time that you can attend and watch the Plutus Award ceremony virtually from your couch, from wherever is comfortable for you, and help us celebrate all the great content and all the great information that's out there that helps millions and millions of people around the world.
And by the way, hosted by our very own Joe Saul-Sehy. Check it out. Speaking of helping to educate people about finance, it's important to start early because if not, they can get into a lot of trouble. We're going to be talking about teen stock trading. But first, let's see which one of our friends is going to lead us into the headline. All right, we are reading an article today from the New York Times written by Rob Lieber, one of my favorite authors. He's got a new book coming out about how to pay for college. He's been a guest on my podcast, and I think he's been to, I don't know. I don't want to say if he's won a Plutus Award. I'm not sure, but he should. He's wonderful. He's written a story for the New York Times Your Money section called Teen Stock Trading Seems Dangerous. It doesn't have to be. Start us off, Harlan.
Sure. Gunslinging young investors are making stock ownership seem like a terrible idea for novices, but owning equities with limits and guardrails can teach kids plenty. This year, Robinhood and its millions of younger than average customers have found themselves at the center of attention that is both comic and tragic. Here's a quote. Robinhood, we now allow teenagers with their parents' credit cards to trade stocks, went the April headline on the satire site Stunk Market. 2 months later, the headlines were far more sobering after a 20-year-old killed himself, leaving behind a note about his negative Robinhood balance. Robinhood's customers trade fast, often in particularly volatile types of investments, and can lose lots quickly, as colleague Nathaniel Popper reported in July. Customers have gone to its headquarters to complain, and the company has installed bulletproof glass. All of this activity frightens many parents, and with good reason. But owning just a few shares of a company's stock is something else entirely, and it need not lead to ruin or ingrain bad investing habits. It may actually be the way to build good ones. Learning about financial risk can be challenging for children whose families have never faced much economic hardship. Nevertheless, it's a crucial lesson. The best way for most people to save enough for retirement is to start early, invest most of the money in stocks early on, and hang on tight for half a century. Watching with dread or exhilaration as balances fall when the market swoons or rise when it booms can lead to poor decisions. The earlier someone experiences that volatility and learns how to react to it, the better.
So one of the things that I like about Rob Lieber in his writings, especially in the New York Times, is that he then provides a lot of solutions and actionable things that you can do. So we're going to skip forward a little bit in the article and go through some of those. The first one he talks about is setting. It may be tempting, this article again, to simply open a regular account and trade with your kids, but a better option may be a custodial account, which an adult sets up for a person who is not yet 18. Any questions about trading commissions, account fees, and any minimum balance requirements? Also inquire about whether you can buy fractional shares of individual stocks that may have high prices for even a single share. Harlan, what's the next one?
The next one is knowing the right rules. There are some guidelines that you, as a parent, relative, or mentor, ought to set. Stick to basics for the first few years, which means no short sales, options, or use of debt to buy on margin. Then there are the firm's rules, which adults sometimes ignore. Charles Schwab, Fidelity, and TD Ameritrade were pretty much unanimous in this refrain: don't give kids the account passwords so that they can trade on their own. And if you do, don't come running to us for help if they make some gonzo bet that doesn't work out. Robinhood, which does...
Go ahead.
Robinhood, which does not offer custodial accounts, doesn't want anyone handing out passwords either. A spokesman declined to comment on how often it needs to shut down accounts because people under 18 have managed to trade anyhow.
Yeah, that was a little dig. Sorry I interrupted you there. The next point is talking about skin in the game. And it talks about kids should invest money that they've earned so they can, think about the hours of work that it took to assemble, all this money. And then let me just do the next one quickly. It also talks about setting goals that, for example, individual stocks can get teenagers thinking about larger economic forces. Why is this company performing better than another? And the dizzying losses that are more likely with the individual stocks can teach a valuable early on lesson. It also talks about challenging their choices. For example, it talks about a discussion that happened with a financial advisor when his kid wanted to invest stocks and think about reporting to an investment committee with how they're doing, why they're choosing it, what their strategy was to buy it, and maybe what their exit strategy is. And then the final tip they talk about is having upper limits. The downside of teen stock ownership is actually the upside, and that big gains can make these teenagers feel invincible. This is something I think that can happen on platforms like Robinhood. It maybe if you feel like you're doing really well. And the article talks about the fact that it's a real danger given how well some technology stocks have performed. So the article suggests setting a limit on gains. And once you're past that point, tell the kids to capture some of the winnings and maybe put them in basic index fund. And by the way, they do cite the writer Jonathan Clem. I want to give him credit for that. Harlan, what do you think about this? Because you're in this business of teaching people about money.
Yeah, and I think Ron Lieber hits a lot of great points on this. And I think Robinhood, and not to call out any specific company, but any platform that kind of provides a way for teens to experiment on their own without supervision is kind of dangerous, because we know that educating people about money through many ways, one of those ways being investing in stocks, is good. It does have the potential of providing some great lessons for how to deal with money, how to invest, make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. But I think a lot of that only works if you make mistakes and then feel the pain. If you're shielded from some of those consequences of the choices that you make, which you may be, especially through platforms that kind of reward you for spending more time or spending more money or making decisions to buy or sell, rather than kind of looking at the long-term end results and not being penalized when there are bad choices that are made, then you're not really going to have the opportunity to learn much from it. And I think this also opens up the opportunity for young adults, and it doesn't matter, not supposed to trade if you're under 18. Some of these, the customers may be 18 to 25, still learning how to deal with their money. But if if they're on their own, and their parents and mentors may not even be aware that they're being involved in all that's going on here and taking part in this, and without that kind of personal guidance, I think there's certainly a danger here, and we've certainly seen that in the news with people taking extreme actions to deal with some of their the problems that they're having when they trade without knowing what they're doing.
Let's get some of our friends on this discussion. We are recording live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Alexis here with a comment. You want to grab that, Harlan?
Yeah, Alexis here can see both sides. It can be a tool for learning, but it could also create a gambling addiction for teens who see it as a game. And yeah, I have always had a problem with the whole gamification of everything, and certainly stock trading has fallen into that. Gamification is great for the companies. It encourages people to stay online more, it encourages them to participate more, to make more decisions, to interact more. But that isn't always the best choice and the best way to approach investing. And if you get into the habits of trading stocks, I mean, I remember when someone close to me who had no experience with money whatsoever decided to start day trading and was saying things like, all right, expect Yahoo to jump up 20 points in the next week. That's based on what? Like, it just came out of nowhere, and you're making predictions. That is gambling. That is probably the worst way to handle your finances, whether it's a small amount or a big portion of the money that you have.
Let's bring in our Instagram friends here. By the way, if you're not following us on Instagram, please join us there at Money Friends Pod. We asked them, should teens be able to trade stocks? Yes or no? Harlan, what did our Instagram friends have to say?
I think in general, the answer was probably that yes, teens should be able to trade stocks, but only with guidance and some kind of restrictions that are either placed on them. Well, that would have to be systemically placed on them, I would think. But without that, it would be careful guidance from someone who's a little more experienced.
Well, we only asked our people yes or no. We have comments coming up, but 72% did say no. And you have actually some of the comments. We actually asked, we asked, how old were you when you bought your first stock and what was it? Let's just run through a couple of those really quickly because we're a little tight on time.
Okay. I like this one. 20, LOL. 12, a gold mining company. Sarah here invested at 12. So that's really interesting. And the Annetter says 28 VTSAX, which is a pretty great index fund right there.
Let's do some. We also asked our Instagram audience, tell us your thoughts about teens trading on stock platforms like Robinhood.
Yeah, so Dr. Strange here says a 19-year-old is 2 years away from legal drinking age and is already eligible to vote. So that's and follows it up with naive and gullible traders exist in the 20 to 50 demographic as well. So
very true.
Yeah, maybe age isn't the primary factor here. Certainly, there's a maturity level that would be helpful as well. And some of these companies, Miles Du Bois said they encourage early distraction and more foundational investing, 401k, IRAs as adults. So that's an interesting point as well. And here's another comment: you are an adult at 18, so of course they should be allowed. So yeah, I mean, we can make lots of decisions about our lives at 18. So theoretically, allowance is good. Being able to do it is good. But whether you should or not, that's a whole other question.
Exactly. And I think the nice thing about Ron Lieber's piece here in the New York Times is that it's clear that it can be great as a learning tool, but it needs to have the guardrails on, that you need to have limits. You can't just, and it was a satire, you cannot have a teen, obviously, just take your parents' credit card and open up, some kind of a credit line and be trading, I guess, effectively on margin and stuff. It can be a wonderful tool. I don't know when my first stock was traded, but it was relatively young with the supervision of my grandfather. So I think that it can be a wonderful thing as a teaching tool, but the controls have to be there. Mm-hmm. We're going to get to our ways in just a moment. But first, I do want to talk about getting organized. Like I mentioned earlier, I am trying really hard to get organized this season. I'm actually watching a show on Netflix about getting organized. And one of the ways you need to get organized is your money. And you can do that really well with Tiller. I'm multitasking while we are doing this. So the thing with Tiller is it helps you manage your money faster because it does so much for you. It's spreadsheet based, but you can customize the spreadsheets to basically whatever you want. And then once you set it up, it's going to track your daily spending, your transaction balances. So you don't really have to compromise because you can customize. They've got a daily feed you can set up with your spending, balances, and transactions. And so you're all good to go. You just connect your banks once and it's all set. Go to tillerhq.com/MWF for more info and a free trial and to support the show. tillerhq.com/MWF. Okay. Now I've multitasked our way into doing the takeaways. Harlan, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I think it's imperative for parents to get involved and pay attention and know what's going on in their kids' lives so that they don't end up kind of being unaware that their teens are going through and opening these accounts and not really getting the best education from them. I think it's great to provide the guidance and give them a path so that they can have some freedom and learn through trading and be open to making mistakes, but they've got to feel those mistakes. And also, I think it's, just being able to set some guidelines, just like Ron Lieber suggested. And this is great advice. And there's an opportunity for parents and kids to learn together as well, especially for those who might not have as much experience as they would like.
We do not rehearse this ahead of time, and a shock to everyone, not. But it's amazing because I feel like you read my mind, Harlan. And I like it when we do agree as well. And a lot of what you said is really what I had written down in my notes for my takeaway, which is basically know your kid and know yourself and take from these great tips what will work for your family, but make sure you start the conversation. The one thing that is not going to work is to not have a strategy to teach your teen or any of your children or any person that you care about in your financial ecosystem about investing. So big thanks to Ron Lieber for bringing us this piece. Harlan, before we say goodbye to you, where can people find more information about you?
Oh, you can check us out at plutusfoundation.org or at plutusawards.com as we're getting ready for our awards ceremony coming up very soon. And Instagram, Plutus Awards, and Twitter as well, Plutus Awards.
Wonderful. You can also read more about Harlan and all of our cast of co-hosts on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. Please follow us on Instagram at moneyfriendspod. That is also our handle on Twitter. And join us for our live shows. You can get the schedule on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com. Harlan and I will be back mañana, Wednesday. We're going to be talking about Amazon and their sellers price gouging and how you can avoid having it happen to you, how to spot it, and some more tips. Thank you, Harlan.
Thank you, Bobbi. Always a pleasure to be here.
All right. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Bye.